Still live on a Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. The great Z is in Philly. The great Gibbe is in Philly. Probably in the middle of some sort of a spa experience is my guess. Little couples retreat for the two of you.
Does it look like that's what
couples
we're in the
massage? I know the audience can't see you when you're not on the stream. You look like you guys are enjoying yourselves. Mimosas?
Probably for the best. It's probably for the best.
No mimosas, boys?
I might need one.
Did you guys tie one on a little bit? You guys how you doing, boys? How's things going? Nice night?
It wasn't a excellent meal. We had a great time at Kalaya, like Kumbaya, Kalaya.
Oh, baby.
Yes. Yeah, and we had to get the pronunciation right.
It was really cool. So
awesome.
The place is unbelievable. It was an incredible meal. And the owner, sat at our table for a while, was just chopping it up with us.
Nice.
She's the owner chef. And kind of said, you guys make sure you get this and this and this, and we did, and it was delicious. And it was very much like, in White Lotus, how the matriarch of the hotel went around and would preside over everything. That's how she was in the restaurant. It was awesome.
What the heck was her name? And then she had that music video that they unearthed. That what's his name couldn't get enough of.
Great.
Couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
man, boys.
Yeah, no, we're here. Joint practices are over. The team is, I think, heading out to the coach's alma mater, UPenn.
It's like a week at camp. Last week we were doing NASCAR, and this week we're going on the. It's kind of like the Peterman reality bus tour. It's the Stefanski reality bus tour. Like you'll go to all of his old haunts. Check things out.
The only thing, I know they're going to get some shots up at that famed basketball arena on the campus of Penn. Yes.
Palestra, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
That's very cool. Have you been over there?
No. We don't get that.
We're here.
No,
we're
you guys
grinding.
Yeah. You guys could have gone this morning.
It's not even funny.
You guys were up early.
So
we know you were up early. You guys could have gone over there, got some shots up.
Oh, were we?
All you want to do, just sleep in.
That's
First time in 3 days I don't have a 5 a.m. wake-up call.
Nope.
Not today, Big Daddy.
Not today, buddy. All right, look, there's a lot going on since last we talked, gentlemen. There's a lot going on. Let's start on we'll get to tomorrow's game and what we expect for that in a second, but let's just start with the two details of the day. Now, from a Browns perspective, nothing has changed because I haven't seen anything official on any front in regard to these two players. But yesterday, prosecutors declined to file a formal misdemeanor battery charge against running back Quinshon Judkins, a spokesperson for the Broward State Attorney's Office told ESPN. Remember, folks, Quinshon Judkins had not signed his contract, has not yet signed his contract because before this all happened, he was one of those second-round picks where, was it Houston who gave somebody a guaranteed money and then everybody wanted it?
Yeah. Jaden Higgins, yep.
Yeah, so that he still hasn't signed or anything, and as we are on this show now at a little after 1, still I haven't seen anything saying that he has signed or anything in terms of what Quinshon Judkins' availability would be. But from a football perspective, I would think this couldn't be anything but good news because there are no formal charges, and so the next step would be for him to get back in the mix here. Obviously, the NFL has monitored all of this, and so something could happen there as well. We just quite honestly don't know. But on the surface, from a football perspective, this would be good news.
Yeah, it obviously, the Browns wanted him to focus on his legal matters before coming to camp. There has been a resolution to those legal matters. So I think we're getting close to Quinshon Judkins being here with the Cleveland Browns, and I think it could be, could be as early, I guess, as today in theory, but it could also be, next week as we start to really prepare for the season when we get home here from Philadelphia.
And then just the catching up at running back would be minimal compared to some of the other positions. So
I think that's right. I mean, you got to learn the tracks and all of that, but he's gotten plenty of reps. It's not like he was not here in the early portion of the offseason. So, yeah, I would imagine he's kept himself in very good shape, and he'll be ready to go.
And so who knows when we will get anything formal on that. It could happen at 3:05. Who knows? But it might not. We don't know. So we'll see on that type of thing. So in addition to that, yesterday, and this one happened, the Quinshon one we were monitoring and paying attention to. Be candid with you, this other one I was not, and I don't know if you were or not, Z. If you were, you weren't. You certainly didn't enlighten me on it. Not that I would blame you, but former Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond, who started out at Alabama and was 5-star recruit out of high school, played 2 years at Alabama, and then when Nick Saban took the job, or rather decided to retire at Alabama, Isaiah Bond said, hey, you know what? I'd like to be a free agent, and he went and played a year at Texas. In April of last year, he was accused of sexual assault in April of last year, charges he vehemently had denied right away. Because of that, he was not drafted. Most people had him as a day 2 pick. I think he ran 4.39 at the combine, so elite traits, obviously, on that side of things. Sir. And most people had him as kind of like a second-round pick, third-round pick. He did go undrafted. He announced on his social media that he plans to sign with us. And thanked Mr. Haslam and Andrew Berry as well in that post. Again, nothing from our side of it in terms of anything official, but this is off of his Instagram. From, again, and to stress this, from a strictly football perspective, this would be a massive player personnel acquisition if from a football perspective. It's a 4.39 burner who played at Alabama and Texas. So that's who he is as a player.
Yeah.
But
it's like
again,
a free day 2 pick.
It's a free second-round pick who's got borderline first-round talent. But, again, I haven't heard anything from our side of it. This is just what's being reported.
Mary Kay Cabot reporting that he will sign with the Browns soon. The Browns still doing their due diligence on him. But, you go to NFL.com's draft profile and you look up what Lance Zierlein has to say about him. His comp is Jalen Waddle. He thinks he will be a better pro than he was even in college. So, again, a lot to go. He's got to get here. He's got to learn the offense, a lot to go through. But, all of a sudden, if you had said kind of back before, the pre-draft process that the Browns could come out of this draft with, Mason Graham, Schlesinger, Judkins, Bond, Fannin, Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Sampson, and a future first-round pick, you would be like, that's not real. You've done something on the Madden simulation that is, it's too much. It's too much. Please, it's too much.
Yeah. But
we'll see. So listen, it's a gamble. Obviously, there are eyebrows that have been raised about it, about the report, that Bond himself put out saying that he was signing with the Browns. But now it's one of those things that if you do get him in here, you hope that he can maximize on his gifts, which are ample, and that the only discussion surrounding him going forward is about him as a football player.
If we show up to practice next week, and from a strictly football perspective, you have added Quinshon Judkins and Isaiah Bond, that is a massive talent shot in the arm, in a huge way.
Absolutely.
Quinshon would be he's the bell cow back. He's everything he was drafted to be. And Isaiah Bond, from a strictly talent kind of DNA standpoint, I would think he would be second only to Jerry Jeudy in terms of pedigree and in terms of kind of the ball of clay that he is. I would say he's probably second only to Jeudy in terms of the receiver room. I know Cedric Tillman might have something to say about that, but I'm thinking Bond was more highly regarded, certainly coming out of high school and probably coming out of college too, than Cedric Tillman was. So that's a massive shot in the arm.
Yes. And it positions where you need it. I mean, this is a football team that's going to be dependent on its ground game, and Quinshon Judkins was drafted to be the focal point of that ground game, and you and I talk about it all the time. You can't get enough receivers, you can't get enough talent in that room. And so, I think it would be a real shot in the arm for this football team if these guys are both here and starting to get to work next week.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we stand on all that. Again, at this point, nothing official from our side of things. Preseason game number 2 tomorrow at 1:00. Look, I mean, in simplest terms, this I think will be interesting if it's Dylan Gabriel, and much less so it is not. Do you have any inclination on what we will see tomorrow?
I think it's really a game time decision. I mean, I talked to Coach about it last night. It is a game time decision. They obviously want him to be able to go for the evaluation process, for him to get those reps That is everybody's preference, but I don't think they are willing, if they really think that it could lead to a significant hamstring injury that would keep him out a lot of time. I don't think that they would be willing to risk that. And so I think you would then get Snoop Huntley for the whole game. And if something were to happen to Snoop Huntley, if there were some type of an injury, I mean, I think you might see Dylan Gabriel go in there in the shotgun and literally hand the ball off. Full stop.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting, though, is like he participated in the 2 11-on-11s this week.
And he looked good. He was running boots, moving around. I mean, he looked good. So, you know, if he isn't able to go, that would lead me to believe that ramped up workload over the course of those 2 days caused him to feel something in his hamstring again.
Yeah. And then
something negative.
At that point, as we're ticking closer to the opener, you have to might cause a total reset with all these injuries we've had, it might cause an entire reset of the room by the time we get to Monday. In terms of
I think all we know is Flacco, right? I mean, that really seems to be the only thing that is going to be clear. I think it'll be very interesting that once all three of these guys are totally healthy, what does that slotting look like behind Joe Flacco? I don't think we can really even know that right now.
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah, it's flat. I just wonder, when will what do you think it will be after the game Saturday? Do we need him to officially name Joe, or are we past that? Feels like we're past that to me. I guess
I still think you need him to. Yeah, I think it'll either happen after the game Saturday or on Monday. I think because that weekend he said on the Kevin Stefanski show that an announcement will be coming soon, and that not only that the starters. There are some people, as he said, you don't necessarily need to see, but starters, in a change from what he's done in the past, starters will play in that third preseason game. It is a little bit of a dress rehearsal for the season.
Yeah, I mean, they've used the joint practices as dress rehearsals the last couple of weeks. So will this be from our vantage point, is this a mostly threes game then tomorrow?
I think tomorrow will be 2s and 3s. I think you'll see some people, some young players, that he wants to get some actual game reps that you didn't see in week 1, like guys coming off of injury. I think you could see some of those young guys that are starters play. So I think it'll be similar to last week. Maybe a few guys will play who didn't last time, and a few guys won't play who did last time. But for the most part, yeah, it's going to be 2s, and then I think a lot of 3s as this thing really gets rolling.
Well, fingers crossed.
Because the starters got, of course, because the starters got about 60 reps of team.
That's a ton.
Over the 2 days. It's a game.
Yeah.
They basically got a game in those controlled environments and all the good situations there in Philadelphia. So, yeah, you're going to see the backups. But you're exactly right what you just said. You really need Dylan Gabriel to play in this game to get, I think, anything valuable for the season out of the offensive possessions in this game.
I couldn't agree with you more. If he doesn't play, it's almost one of the. I mean, you can't do it, but it's kind of almost like, okay, yeah, look, we'll see you back in Bree on Monday for practice. Like what? There's not a whole lot to play for if you don't see him. Like everybody else, you kind of know what they are and don't. I suppose, and we'll go over this. We're going to do a kind of the 53 where we stand heading into Saturday's game. There might be some bottom roster things. You know it better than me. There might be some bottom roster guy versus this guy, but it's very little. In terms of unknown out there. And so, yeah, if Gabriel plays, this is an incredibly valuable learning block for him if he can play and to let them know what he is and let him know what he is in a game in the National Football League. If he doesn't play and you're going to play some starters next week in the preseason finale, and then however you backfill the rest of those reps between Gabriel, Pickett, and Sanders, provided he's healthy to go, provided Kenny's able to go. I mean, it's kind of almost a little bit too late. This might be his only chance to get really game reps. Now, he's gotten 11-on-11 reps in the joint practices, but in terms of game reps, this might be it until potentially he's called upon in the regular season.
Yeah, and you want to see it. I mean, I think they would certainly find a way to get him some against the Rams, but yeah, you want to see this. This is... Again, you came into this season and part of this offseason about developing these rookies, evaluating these rookies, and this was a game that I think the first one probably would have been, Dylan starting and Shador getting a half or vice versa. And then the second one would have been the opposite. Like, these guys both should have a full game under their belts after 2 preseason games, and now we're, Gore got 50 plays, or roughly, and Dylan Gabriel might not get any. And so this is vastly different than what anybody would have expected, and it's just so strange to have this many quarterback injuries.
It's nuts.
It really is. It's nuts.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Kenny Pickett in a team period, an 11-on-11, since the 4th day of training camp was the last time. The 4th day.
Yeah, it's just totally shook up the way that I think Kevin wanted this to go. And now like, how do you – now you try to make do with what you got. That's kind of what they're doing. They're making some chicken salad here. Your guys, let's go over your evening last night. So you have a nice meal, and then
Yes.
you guys go back to the rooms and you just throw on some Netflix and chill, or how did we do, Gibbe?
That would have been the responsible thing to do, Bo.
We were going to.
I had every
We were
intent
so
on it.
close.
I had every intention. I'm like, I'm stuffed.
Yeah, you
A couple
are.
cocktails with dinner. Things are great. Probably put 3,000 calories in my. I need to maybe walk it off, whatever. And then Tequila Fila sends us a text. He goes, "Hey, when you guys are done,
Sure.
we're at this little dive bar right around the corner."
Oh, God.
Now
That's catnip for
now,
Gibby. Dive bar around the corner?
Well, he sends me a picture of a PBR.
Oh,
That's
geez.
attractive.
Come on. Too easy.
And I'm, so I bring it up to Nathan and Andrew, and they're both like, "Hey, let's go have a nightcap." Like, all good.
Twist my rubber arm, Gibby.
Yeah. I'm like, look, we should celebrate. We've made it through 2 weeks of joint practice.
You've done it.
Like, you're not going to get wild and crazy tonight. We're on a bus at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's game day. Like, we got to pack up. We got to get out. Like, you got to have your faculties about you. So, like, Thursday night was the night maybe to get after a little bit. But still, that was never the intent.
yeah.
And then we walked into the bar. Number one, the music selection
Was great.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
90s, early 2000s.
Throwing heaters.
Oh, yeah, we had a lot of fun. They were Oasis fans, so there were some good Oasis songs, some Dr. Dre and Snoop. We really
They're
had
Not
it all.
Blind.
It
was.
we ran the gamut.
We did. Yeah.
There's some
we
good
ran
dancing.
something.
I envision you guys.
The youngins.
You remember when you guys have seen the motion picture Trading Places? You remember when Billy Ray Valentine gets sprung from jail, and then they tell him that it's his house and his car, and they all work for him, and so forth and so on. And he doesn't believe it. And then he decides to throw a party, and that's kind of what I envision you guys, like at that party, just having the time of your lives.
There were points that certainly echoed what you just said right there, and then there were others where I felt like we were in the opening scene of Wedding Crashers, jumping around to like shout. Even though they weren't playing shout, but there was a lot of jump dancing and just general frivolity and joy.
Oh, what a time!
I don't know if the youth in the bar knew what to make of the old people dancing on the floor.
We were tearing it up.
Well, you
we
got to live, boys.
There's no doubt in my mind. We turned into the strongest performance.
It was a
Yes.
solid group, and a good time was had by all. I could have done without a few of the beverages because
Sure you could.
the one nightcap led to.
Dude, you ruined me.
Shot Queen
This
wasn't
is
even
my
around.
fault. Yeah,
Oh, she was in the form of him.
that's right.
God give it.
Now, first and foremost, we walk in, and Tequila's like, I'm 3 or 4 shots in.
Of course he
and
is.
I'm like, woof.
No,
Okay.
we're grown.
How about we slow that roll? And then Connor with a K decided, we looked parched. And he started feeding us those.
We had a good time. Bottom line, we had a good time.
I got him a green tea shot. He still
Oh.
regrets it. He's still
I
angry
can still
about
taste it.
What is
Disgusting.
that?
Exactly.
It's a green tea shot.
What is
Come
it, Gibby?
on, come on, Gibby. There's rules.
No,
There are
it was
rules.
fine.
The only
Yeah,
there are only two
There
things.
is nothing
And
wrong.
that was a
There are only
that
two
was a
things.
violation.
There are only
of
two things
rules.
that are acceptable as a shot, and it's tequila and tequila. That's it. That's it.
Amen.
Everything
Brava.
else. Everything else.
Next level is next.
That's it. We'll
Next
see on
level's
down
next.
the road.
Okay.
That's it.
So
Yeah. So what is this? What was this concoction? I still taste it. It was awful.
Jameson, peach schnapps, sour mix, and lemon lime soda.
Oh God! It's worse now that I know that.
No wonder you're sick.
It's worse
No
now
wonder.
that I know that.
Why would anybody
Oh my
do that?
goodness! Why does that come out of your mouth? Why is that what you?
Oh
Why do you
no!
even know
I
what
kept
that
going.
is?
I kept deferring to Connor,
Jameson,
and you were
pink
even
schnapps?
you were on
Oh,
board.
my
You were,
God.
by the way, you were like, "Let's do a shot." And
Was
I'm
that
like,
Midori?
Okay, you guys pick.
Did you say Midori in there? Didn't you say peach
No,
schnapps?
he said
Jameson.
peach
What?
schnapps.
Jameson and what
Listen.
else? There were other things. Lime something you had?
Jameson.
Peach
Peach
schnapps,
schnapps.
sour mix, and a lemon lime soda.
Sour
A
mix.
splash of like
oh
a spray.
my
Oh.
God.
Gibby.
I enjoyed it.
You did it at 8 a.m. You did not at 8 a.m.
Hey, how are we looking today, schedule wise? How about right now?
How's now sound?
How can I?
I'll
get
see you in 2
3
minutes. I'll see you in 90 seconds. Oh, man.
Oh,
All right.
God.
Well, listen. A lot of unknowns on what could be there for this preseason game tomorrow. Hopefully it's
Yes,
you get to see
there are.
Dylan Gabriel.
That's what I said.
and
But
that's
is there-
kind of what we're hoping for? If not, it's a tough sell.
When in the history of the preseason
Okay.
has there been a game time decision that literally has so much writing on it from an entertainment evaluation, all of its standpoint in week 2 of the preseason, where there's a real true game time decision?
I mean, never. No, never.
Right.
No.
Yes,
This is it.
that's what I'm saying.
This is it. This is the list. I mean, this is the only thing. And obviously because of the injury to Shador, and honestly the injury to Kenny. I mean, you'd like to see anybody who you think could play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in 2025 take snaps tomorrow. I mean, that's it. I guess theoretically you could see Snoop Huntley if these other 3 guys can't get healthy the next 2 weeks.
I think that's.
I mean,
totally in play.
That's what I meant earlier when I said if you don't start getting healthy at some point, then you have to rethink what this looks like entirely. We've already rethought what's going to happen at the
100%.
top with Flacco, right? I mean, that's what happened with the
Yeah.
Pickett injury now, which is 4 weeks in. So that already happened. But then beyond him, now I think if I don't see Kenny Pickett start playing next week full, if I don't see Dylan Gabriel, we don't need to keep an eye on him. He's good by next week. And Shador's got the oblique. Like, hell, Snoop Huntley might be your backup week 1.
I think we will be. I think we will be in a better spot than that. But it's possible. Listen, Snoop Huntley started 5 games last year in the National Football League. It
sounds like
the fact though that we didn't sign a quarterback gives me some
hope
for Dylan.
I thought he said this somewhere that the starters might get some reps next week. Did he tell us that on the Stefanski show?
Yes, and
Yeah, we
discussed
talked about
it
that.
10 minutes ago.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're going
it's
to
just
play
like-
that at
this
2
is the
o'clock.
effect. This is what happens when a green tee shot.
This is the
gets
green
involved.
tee shot. I think
Does he
Gibby's not
remember
even
what we
listening.
talked
He's
about?
got
Put a
headsets on the
pregame
whole way.
together.
This is still the same opening segment, Gibby.
Yeah. Yeah, Bobby Cart. Flacco's healthy. What are you blowing up my phone for?
Bobby Cart. Jeez.
Bobby Cart.
Body Cart with Hudson on
Did you have a
Hudson.
lacrosse
Prime
tournament
introducting
to
this
schedule?
program.
Junior.
Hey, he's very good at those
I
things.
miss you, buddy. Hope you're well.
Yeah, so no, we did discuss that, but the point is beyond that, we need to get these other guys healthy. Like it's a lot, and to go through like preseason and not see him play is pretty crazy when you think about it. So hopefully Dylan can go, because that's, to Z's point, that's about the biggest swing of, is this something I need to pay attention to or not, as you're going to get in a preseason game. Those are your hot topics of the day, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Take a look at that 53-man as we get set to play preseason game number 2. We'll also have Deuce Staley with Z. It's all coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Under your Phantom of the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place that first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. We are inching closer to needing a 53, Dr. Z. How do you see it as we sit here before preseason game number 2?
All right. Well, let's break that down for you, shall we?
Let's do it.
And we're going to go on the supposition that
you in a
Quinshawn
hood is
will be
amazing.
back.
Folks can't see it, but you in this hoodie is amazing. Gibby's in glasses. You're in a hoodie. Like you guys are hanging on by a thread, dude. It's amazing. It is amazing.
It looks like Liano running around yesterday.
It's true.
Loping
Listen, this
through
is
the
our. I mean, if you think about it, from the beginning of last week, starting on last Tuesday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we've been gone a lot.
You have. Yeah.
We've been gone more than we've been home.
Yes.
We
have reached a point where everybody in the travel party is like, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, Kev likes to take it on the road. Kev likes a road trip. Loves a road trip. Go ahead.
They
53.
got good work here. I don't think there's any doubt.
53.
Right.
Let's go.
All right. I think right now 4 quarterbacks.
Do you really still?
Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, and Shador. I still do think so. I don't think now if somebody makes an offer for somebody that we feel we can't refuse, that's possible to get down to 3, but I really think it's going to be 4 quarterbacks on the opening 53. I don't see anybody here being let go. Running backs, I think that you'll get 3, and I think and I'm going to count Judkins as being back, and I think it'll be Judkins, Ford, and Sampson. I think you could have Amani Marshall, Pierre Strong, Toa Taua. I think those are all practice squad candidates.
Is that the position group that would get another one if you were to have 3 quarterbacks? And I'm with you. We've been saying 4 all summer, but or do you think? Just
I don't know. I think it would be what that would allow you to do is maybe to have you could either have another one on D, or that could be your 10th offensive lineman or a 6th wide receiver.
I got you.
I think it would be kind of depending on the roster. I think if you had Ford, Sampson, and Judkins, and you had Marshall or Strong or Taua on the practice squad, I think you're more than good at that position. I think you'd be in a good spot. Wide receivers, Judy, Tillman, Thrash, Carter, I think are your 4 locks. I still think Deontay Johnson makes this team right now. Obviously, if Isaiah Bond comes in, that'll be interesting because it would seem to me that if you cut him, somebody might take the flyer on him at that point. So
if you cut him, he won't
be
here.
To be on there.
So he's going to have to be on it.
Right.
If he gets here and he gets signed, he's not going to get through waivers.
So that means that you could have a situation where you have the 6 receivers. That's tough. That's going to cost you an offensive lineman most likely. If you went 4-6-3, that's 13. And you can only have 11 between your tight ends and your offensive line. Right. You're going to have Njoku, Fannin, I think Blake Whiteheart. And then now you're talking 8 linemen. I don't know how that's possible. I think you got to have 9 on the offensive line because you got Jones, Bitonio, Posick, Teller, Conklin, Cornelius, Lucas, Zach Zinner, Luke Whippler feel like they're going to make this team. Tevin Jenkins, former second-round pick, I feel like maybe he doesn't. I don't know, but it feels like he would be on this team.
Well, that's where it gets tight in a hurry.
That's
where it gets really tight in a hurry with the 4 quarterbacks. So if you could find a way for that to be
4
3,
quarterbacks and the 6 receiver, right? You can't have it all.
No.
Now could the Browns go with Njoku and Fannin as the only 2 tight ends on the roster and say, okay, we're going to get 2 of Whiteheart, Bates, and Cannella to the practice squad, and then we'll have one of them up on game days using those rules that we can do. We can have one up 3 times, another one up 3 times, and by then maybe the roster will shake out. One can be added to the 53 permanently. Yes, they could certainly do that as well. But Jackson Barton has done well for the Cleveland Browns. In the last game, 21 pass blocking snaps, only gave up 1 pressure. He started, a couple of games last year in Arizona, and we need depth at tackle, so maybe he's there. But that's kind of where I see it. I think Gage Larvidan, Luke Floria, Caden Davis, those are guys you're looking at practice squad probably at the wide receiver position. when it all shakes out, when Luke Floria kind of clears waivers and is brought back eventually. That's where I see that there. But, yeah, right now I think you have a problem, especially with the signing of Isaiah Bond, because to me that puts, does that put Deontay Johnson's spot at a little bit of peril if you're going to keep 5? Because DeAndre Carter's your returner, Thrash you drafted last year, Tillman you drafted, and Jerry Jeudy's your number 1. So I think there are things to be decided, and I'll certainly be watching Deontay's reps. I think he's done a good job. He's got to obviously catch the ball. He had a drop on the 2-point conversion from Gabriel that ended up in an interception, but I think he's done a good job. But you were going to want to be 24 because on the defense, you're going to need 26 on the defense.
Well, even if you have the two tight ends, that's still just the 9 O-linemen to get to 25.
Yeah, 2 tight ends would still just be 9. You're exactly right.
Or 24, would
if you went
be
to 6 receivers.
If you go to 6 receivers.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how you're not going to have 6 receivers if indeed you signed Isaiah Bond. I don't know how you're not going to have 6 of them. That's tricky.
It definitely feels that way. You are not wrong there. So now you go to the defense, and we're going to say we're 24 on the offense, and there's going to be some movement in the places we highlighted. You're going to have 5 on the at defensive end: Myles Garrett, McGuire Wright, Tryon Shoyinka, and I think Cam Thomas. Julian Aquara still very much in the mix. Defensive tackle: Collins, Graham, Mike Hall, Shelby Harris, Jawan Briggs, Aiden Huntington. I think Aiden Huntington's somebody got to keep an eye on. Sam Kamara they've always really liked. But, maybe this is a room where there is a move there. I think we have 6 NFL
talent
defensive ends and 6 NFL defensive tackles. So I think there could be perhaps there is a move that comes out of that room. Or 2 moves that come out of that
room. You could have 2.
But I think you're going to end up
too
with
much good
10
depth
on
there.
Absolutely. You're going to come away with 10 on the defensive line. Linebacker: Schlesinger, Devin Bush, Baker, Winston Reed, Mahmoud Diabate. And I'm pretty sure they like what they've seen from Buki Watson. He had the fumble recovery on special teams. He's really improved a lot. So my guess is you probably want all 6 of those guys, but that would put you at 16, which means you could only have 10 safeties and corners, which is a number that you could work with in theory. I think you got Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome as absolute locks. Beyond that, I think it's open. I really do. I think it's open. Cam Mitchell feels, with draft pick, feels safe. Miles Harden feels safe. Tony Brown, Apex, has been good. Nick Needham is in the mix competing there. I think Dom Jones has played very well, a 6'2", a guy out of Colorado State who maybe has an opportunity to make this team there. I think the Browns will be looking at other teams' cornerback cuts.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be paying attention, quite frankly, to the team that we're playing this weekend, the Eagles, who might have too many cornerbacks. And then at safety, you've got Hickman, Delpit, Christopher Edmonds. I think those 3 are there. And then you've got the 2 veterans, Delmonte KZ and Rayshawn Jenkins. Could you have 5 there? Could you have 4 there, between KZ and Jenkins? I think that's something to keep an eye on. And, Jenkins, unfortunately, I don't blame him at all. I don't fault him at all. Leggett came at him and was going for a double leg takedown, and he ripped his helmet off. He threw, first of all, the guy threw 3 punches at him. At some point he's got to be able to defend himself. And then they like Donovan McMillan, who I think will end up on the practice squad. And then I think your specialists will be Bojorquez, Hopkins, and Sunahara. But there's a lot up in the air, I think, at a couple of, is there a 6th receiver? Will there be 3 tight ends on the 53, or do they try to get through that way? Will there actually be the 4 quarterbacks? 8 or 9 off on the offensive line. And then defensively, you got 3 guys, I think, for 2 spots at defensive tackle. You got 2 guys for 1 spot at defensive end. Where does Buki Watson figure into all of this? The cornerback room, to me, outside of Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome, is wide open. Mm-hmm. Wide open. So there's still a lot to be decided for this football team, and especially when you consider, Jim Schwartz loves to play man-to-man defense. He likes to put his cornerbacks on an island, and you need to be able to cover, and it just makes you say to yourself, man, this is going to be that MJ Emerson injury was a big injury, and they're going to need to kind of find a diamond in the rough or to find somebody that is let go somewhere else. Or Cam Mitchell, Miles Harden have got to take advantage of their opportunities. Nick Needham, who had started games early in his career, he's got 27 starts as a slot corner, has appeared in 63 games. Can he be the guy? There definitely are more question marks, I think, for the 53 at this stage than there have been in many years, and it's more based on roster composition because the 4 quarterbacks puts you we've been going with 2 quarterbacks
That's
recently.
right. That's right.
On the 53.
Yep. Now you're
it's
doing
just
4.
Since DTR was here, it was just DTR. And now you're going to do 4. So that takes away spots of guys. Now, the rules and the way you're able to move people around, all of that is very good, but it's still going to be tough to figure this all out. And I think you'll see as the trend of last year and really around the whole league last year will continue, which is your practice squad is going to be composed largely of guys from your building, and everybody's practice squads will be largely composed of guys from their buildings.
Yeah, it's 2 more quarterbacks than we're used to. If Isaiah Bond is signed, it's another wide receiver that I don't think we want to cut, or open up to waivers. So I think that makes that room more complicated than we thought it was going to be. It's more talented for sure, but it's more complicated than we thought it was going to be 3 or 4 days ago. You didn't know if you were going to have some sort of resolution on Quinshon Judkins, but that doesn't change running back. You're going to have 3 of them no matter what. But the other reality is with the shaky corner play, you now need, and the injury to MJ, you need one there, and what you have is an incredible glut of defensive linemen, both tackles and ends. So to me, you guys' experience on this would outweigh mine, because in the time that I've been doing this show, we haven't had these type of circumstances. It's been pretty straightforward. Going back to Baker's rookie year, you kind of knew, like it was 1 or 2 guys. We would do that whole thing with Trotter, and we'd guess the 53, and it'd be 1 or 2 guys. Well, we're talking about upwards of, 8 different machinations of what this could look like at the bottom, maybe more.
Yes.
So to me, this feels like a team that's ripe for a trade if you can find a willing partner, because you have a glut of things that others may be in need of, and hopefully you can find a partner.
People want. Yep. Couldn't agree more, and I think that can help solve some of these problems while also bringing in, either assets or whether it be players at positions that you like better than the guys you currently have here, or, more stockpiling for the draft.
Yeah. You just got to find that dance partner, because it's these are these guys that are going to be playing tomorrow, these backup corners, the depth on the defensive line, certainly the wide receiver for the guys that play. I mean, it's a massive data point from them. It's just another example where I hope we get Gabriel, so it's the most kind of accurate look about what it's all about. Although Snoop's in this system, he knows it well and all of that. He's a pro's pro, but at the same time, like, you'd love to see Gabriel do it, because I think when you think about the corner depth, the wide receiver depth, and the defensive line depth, some really tough decisions are going to have to be made, and decisions that 48 hours ago you probably didn't think you were going to have to make.
Yeah, and this roster composition is tough. The initial 53 is never the final 53, but yeah, the 4 quarterbacks makes this so different. I mean, that was an extra offensive lineman and an extra linebacker that you could have. You're right. I don't recall a time, like, I think right now I could green with a real confidence, maybe 46 of the 53.
Yeah.
But that's a lower. It's usually at this
normally
point
it's 50
to 52 of the 53.
Since 18, it's been 50. I mean, minimum. You could nail 50 of them, and it's 2 or 3 guys that are battling, and that's kind of it. We're casual today. A white sneaker, a nice jean, fitted very well, of course, painted on. We're in a flowing button down, untucked.
Are we going for a little more room in the jeans than in years past? I've heard that from the rumor mill.
I sense that there's maybe a little more, not quite as painted on as we're normally. Yeah. I think there's a little bit more. I mean, always just incredibly.
I heard that was in play for fall of 25.
Yeah, could be some changes. Who knows? We'll see.
But keep it fresh.
So those are the things you need to pay attention to tomorrow for the game between us and, of course, the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. That running back room got a lot more interesting, or potentially could get a lot more interesting, with the return of Quinshon Judkins whenever that happens. Coming up next, Z goes one-on-one with running back coach Deuce Staley, and we'll have a little conversation about the running back room on the other side of this quick timeout. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly.
Welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Very happy now to be joined by Browns running back coach Deuce Staley. And, Coach, we'll just get right into it. In Philadelphia, 2 days of good work against the defending Super Bowl champs. I'm sure a team that you've got plenty of history with as well. What was it like being back, and what did you see from your guys?
It was awesome being back. Just being able to see a lot of familiar faces. A lot of people are still here when I played and also when I coached, so that's always awesome. And the greetings, all the love is great. Just being able to see the Browns go out there and compete, man. I saw a lot of guys with fire in their eyes. Saw a lot of guys go out there and fight, and that's what we wanted to see, and that's what I saw.
All right, in your room, Jerome Ford had some nice runs over the 2 days. He was a guy last year, probably the most accomplished in terms of his resume in the NFL in your room. What have you seen from him and as he gets ready for Cincinnati in the opener?
Yeah, he's doing well. Of course, he started off kind of slow, had a little injury there, but has picked it up since, doing well. Jerome is a guy that you can count on, right? I got a lot of faith in Jerome and the rest of the guys in that room. Of course, we got young Dylan coming along. He's been making some plays. I'm very happy with him, but we got a lot to work on.
Mentioned Dylan, and he's gotten a lot of opportunities, obviously, because there are opportunities in your room. He seems to be making the most of it. How's he doing, and where is he on the all-important? You trust him to protect the quarterback in a big situation.
Well, that's number one, and that's number one throughout the room with all of them. Before they get a handoff, before they get a handshake, before they get a high, they got to protect the quarterback. And we did not do a good job of that here these past couple of days, but we can learn from it. We can get better. I think Dylan is coming along, understanding the techniques that I'm trying to teach him, and he's embracing it, and he's coming along.
Feels like he's got to be maybe the most ready for week one, because when even in our live periods, it felt like he was the one getting hit all the time. He's gotten good work out here, good work in Carolina.
Right.
He just seems an SEC Offensive Player of the Year. So this is a guy, obviously, very successful in a very difficult conference.
Yeah, he's definitely had a lot of success over the years throughout college, but this is a different game.
Yep.
So as soon as you come through the door, you got to show me, because I'm from the show me state,
Yep.
So you got to show me. And he's been showing, he's been, like I said, he's been taking the technique that I'm teaching him and trying to apply it, also learning as he goes, so I'm happy.
You got a couple of young guys, too, who are vying probably to stay in the program, Amani Marshall and Toa Tawa, and I like the way those guys run. North-south, they both seem very physical, and Amani, even in the Carolina game, showed the ability to bounce it outside a little bit. What have you seen from those young guys who are
just working hard,
fighting for their careers, right?
Just working hard, man, and that's, they come to work every day with their head down. They want to learn, they want opportunities, and taking advantage of the opportunities that they get.
And then Travion, he's been around the league and kind of got the offense going with that screen pass in Charlotte. Came in pretty quickly, seemed to pick things up.
Right, he's a vet. He knows how to practice. He knows how to play. He knows how to break down defenses. He knows how to look at linebackers and kind of see what they're doing. I mean, we're just happy with the whole room. Now it's time to go to war.
Yeah, and that room will have a different feel, we assume, at some point, as the news of yesterday afternoon into today that prosecutors down in Broward County have declined to file a formal misdemeanor charge against Browns running back Quinshon Judkins. Spokesman to the Broward State's Attorney's Office telling ESPN nothing yet from the Browns on Judkins. We did have the Mary Kay Cabot report that Judkins would be signed relatively soon. Did I have that right, or was that Isaiah Bond? I'm confused. I'm trying to remember which one that was on. Bond was
Mary
what she
Kay
reported
said that
on.
Bond
Nothing
would be
on
signing
Judkins.
soon.
Yeah, nothing on Judkins.
Yes,
yet.
but it feels, with the resolution here, it feels imminent to me.
Yeah. It would feel that way. And what you're going to get with Quinshon Judkins is the top of the second-round pick. You're talking about a guy in terms of his time at Ohio State, where I think the best way that I would explain him to people is he ran through arm tackles. Like, he runs through those. Those don't bring him down. 5.7 a carry his freshman year at Ole Miss when he led the SEC in rushing, just over 1,000 yards last year in Ohio State, 5.5 yards a carry, 14 touchdowns. Did have a long, an 86-yard run for touchdown. I want to say that was early on. That could have been in the Akron game, if memory serves. That happened very early. I'll pull up his game log and get it for you. It was in the Marshall game. He also did not have a single game he only had one game last year with more than 15 carries. So a big reason that he went to Ohio State was to save the wear and tear, and they had two of them. They had him and TreVeyon Henderson, so there wasn't a single game last season where he eclipsed 17 carries, and that was in the Oregon game. They won 41-21 in the Rose Bowl, and they were salting out the game is probably the only reason he even went that high, honestly. Like, he is fresh. He is a powerful runner. He gets downhill in a hurry. It usually takes more than one to bring him down, and he can be the fulcrum of an offense, and that's, quite frankly, what he was drafted to be here.
Yeah, he had the 86-yard touchdown run in the second quarter of the Buckeyes' 49-14 win over Marshall.
Yep. There you go. Conversely, like you go to the year before at, it's funny. You go, man. Lane Kiffin rode him hard, man. Hard the first couple of years at Ole Miss. No wonder he got out.
274 carries, 271 carries. He had a total of 289 touches and 293 touches in those 2 seasons.
All right, freshman year. This is freshman year from the Auburn game on. So this is against, in order, Auburn, LSU, Texas A&M, Alabama, Arkansas, and Mississippi State. Judkins carry totals: 25 for 139, 25 for 111, 34 for 205, 25 for 135, 24 for 214, 22 for 91 against that slate as a true freshman.
Wow.
That is against that group of teams. Auburn, LSU, A&M, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi State. That's what he did as an 18-year-old. So when he gets here, it is going to be a massive shot in the arm to the offense and, quite honestly, to the identity that Kevin Stefanski, we think, wants this offense to have, which is that power run game. That will be there if you have Quinshon Judkins in the building. All right, second hour of the program coming up next. Among the things you are going to be treated to is Z, one-on-one with Coach. You're listening to – before I do that, I should tell you should fill your game day cooler with the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Smooth, real brewed tea, 5% kick of alcohol. Look for the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea, keep it twisted. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly. Z and Coach, among other things, in the final hour, you're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elkin Elk Serious Lawyers, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elkin Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Preseason game number 2 for us tomorrow, despite what some are saying. You will not see Shedeur Sanders in the game tomorrow. You will also may or may not see Dillon Gabriel. You will not see Joe Flacco. You're not going to see Kenny Pickett. This really comes down to Gabriel. If he can go, then this is a really interesting preseason game and a chance to see him play. If he can't, then it's Snoop Huntley, and then it's more of those guys on the periphery of the roster trying to make a big impression on a Saturday where they're playing unobstructed.
That's exactly right. This is, I think, so much in terms of the interest in this game for the typical viewing public and really for the evaluation and the evaluators of the Cleveland Browns and the coaching staff. It hinges on Dillon Gabriel's availability. Because, yes, there are margins. We talked about those, the margins that are going to go on in terms of, in the cornerback room. At the 6th linebacker spot, at the 5th defensive tackle spot, is there going to be a 9th or a 10th offensive lineman, the 3rd tight end battle? But those we're nitpicking right there,
yeah,
right? Those
deep,
are things that at the end of the day should not be consequential. In fact, I would go so far as to say I'm not sure that there truly is a starting spot up for grabs other than the nickel corner.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be it, right? Everything else is...
Yeah. Everything else is pretty well set, pretty well established. Maybe who's the 3rd safety when we play our big dime? Is it Chris Edmonds? Is it KZ? Is it Rayshon Jenkins? But yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly.
I'd like to see our kicker.
Yes,
put
of course.
Together a couple. Missed one last week.
Yeah, that's one
Thought
of the
he
things
missed
we're
the
certainly
second one,
paying attention to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, whereas if Dillon plays, then all eyes on. I mean, you're completely locked in, and if he gets, if he's healthy enough to get kind of the full run that Shedeur got, then that's very intriguing to be able to see. So hopefully we get a chance to see Dillon play tomorrow. I know he wants it. The coaches want it. It's just a matter of health and does it make sense to do it. As we go around the league, the Ravens and Commanders have canceled their joint practices. Look, this I think all goes back to that point that we were making a couple weeks ago that nobody knows what to do with the preseason. And they have all sorts of different rules per team. So the Ravens and Commies were going to do the joint practice, and they were going to play each other on August 23rd, which is a week from tomorrow. But the Commies play the Bengals on Monday Night Football this Monday. The Bengals are playing their starters, so the Washington Commies are going to play their starters. So now all of a sudden we don't need to do a joint practice because Burrow and those guys are going to get a couple of series at least for Cincinnati. It's going to be more. He got 2 series in the opener, and they want him to get more than that. He wanted more than that this week. So you're going to see probably 1s versus 1s happening in the actual game. What a novel concept. And this goes again to kind of our point of nobody knows what to do with these. And there's some that have similar groupthink, like obviously us and Philly. We view these similarly, where the onus is on the joint practices and the controllables of a practice, whereas some teams, like the Bengals, among others, are saying, well, we're going to put it on the games and do it that way. I don't know what's right or wrong, but this is probably as far as the NFL has been in terms of the individual teams in the league on how to treat preseason football, or really how to treat any issue. It's a wide array of opinion.
Totally, and then some teams have had to cancel their joint practices because they don't have enough healthy bodies.
Yeah.
So it's been a kind of already wild. Yes, you're exactly right. Nobody really has the same approach to it around the league. Our approach this year has been different. We've never had, a 1-day joint practice before. We had 2 sets of joint practices this time. Yeah. As I said, if you combine Carolina and the 1 day there and the 2 days in Philly, you probably got about 80 to 90 reps for your ones in competitive situations and in third down situations, red zone situations, 2-minute drill situations, and a lot of important situational football. And then we're going to get, we've had live tackling periods in Berea. We've had, obviously, the game was live. We're going to have another live game tomorrow. And then the third one, you're going to get the starters out there. Maybe not all of them, but you're going to get a good portion of them, which is a departure from what we've done in the past, as we recall being in Seattle last year, Gibbe, for the preseason finale.
That was convenient.
That was the worst. I mean, that was just stupid.
There's
I mean,
just
we
no
went
thought to it, man.
no, and no one played.
No.
I mean, literally, it took us half a week just to get our bearings back. After that, no one needs to do that.
No.
Make them regional games. Like the fact that the Rams have to come to us next week. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, I know that they're going to gain ground coming back, and I'm going to tell you right now, given our play-by-play voice used to do their preseason games, they don't play anybody in the third preseason game.
No.
They don't even make them travel. They don't want them to even get tight on the flight.
Yeah. No, that's just, and their approach. Like, they just don't do it at all, and it hasn't hurt them. So you just, it's pretty wild. Speaking of them, Matthew Stafford has not practiced during training camp because of that back injury that he's been nursing. He's going to work out on Saturday, Sean McVay said. So
I got to tell you something. Devontae Adams is, based on what we saw in that receiver show, he cannot be happy that Jimmy Grapes is back there slinging him the pill right now. And there was a throw in a joint practice where he threw what they call a hospital ball. And you could tell Devontae Adams was not happy.
Not having it.
No, not happy at all. Like, get Stafford out here.
So was was from earlier in camp?
It was from this. It was like
this year's camp
2 days ago, like a joint practice.
Oh, okay.
Because they were together in Vegas.
Oh,
on the receiver
there you go.
show.
Oh,
and
that's
you knew
where.
That,
okay, so
that he was not a fan.
Not a fan. No.
And now he's come to the Rams, and all of a sudden, with Stafford being out, it's Garoppolo's their starter.
Yeah, I think they know what they're doing. I'm not worried about it.
The Jags, by the way, looks like they're gonna hold Travis Hunter out of preseason game number 2.
I saw that
as he deals with an upper body injury.
Real quick, do you want to? Why don't you be the? You want to ask me on the Harbaugh stuff? Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, college football.
College football, Nate. What do you think? What do you think? Does it feel like
exactly
very big
what I
sanctions to
said
me?
it would be?
Yeah.
It is precisely what I've been saying it would be for 2 years. To anyone that asked, and people would come and say, "No, they're going to get hammered. They're going to get hammered." I'm like, they're not going to get hammered. They're not going to get hammered, and they didn't. It's nothing. It's a slap on the wrist. It's not even really a fine. It's withholding postseason money the next 2 years, so it's not even a fine. They're going to make more money from the Big Ten than Oregon and Washington are. Because Oregon and Washington came in at discount. They're not even getting the full pay from the Big Ten. They're actually getting half the money in order for the Big Ten to take them. So they're going to make way more money than them. Their television revenue is not touched at all, so they're still going to get the $70+ million every year from that. It's a slap on the wrist. And some of the statements in this are crazy. This statement from the NCAA, Harbaugh did not embrace or enforce a culture of compliance during his tenure, and his program had a contentious relationship with Michigan's compliance office, leading coaches and staff to disregard NCAA rules. So much to say that Jim Harbaugh had very little use for NCAA rules during his time as the Michigan head coach. And it's nothing. It's nothing. Connor Stallions, his level of non-cooperation was unlike anything they've ever seen. He threw his phone in a pond. As soon as he got wind of all of it, he had all of his files deleted off his computer by an intern. It's not a lie if you believe it. Blatant cheating. And they got away with all of it. And there's not really much you can do. The NCAA is entirely feckless. And my lesson going forward, if I was a college team, and I would say, do whatever you need to do. There are no rules. They're enforceable right now in college athletics.
It's like the late, great Eddie Guerrero would say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
No, that's it. Pretty sure a NASCAR
for the Buckeyes,
guy said that first.
For S, it's like...
I've already talked to him. He's despondent. But I told him what this was going to be.
He's so unhappy.
I told him for 2 years what this was going to be.
I don't know. I think what he's really mad at, the thing that he's really mad at, if you were to like really kind of peel away the layers of the onion, is that the year when they had already been busted and they played a legitimate football game, that Michigan still won that game. Because if Ohio State wins that game, they could have nullified, said nothing else counts because we know you're cheating, and when it was even, we beat you.
The one that really sucks is the 2022 game when they were cheating. That was the C.J. Stroud, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison team.
Yep.
That's the one that is painful. That's the painful one, is that one. That they were robbed of that one. 2023, at that point, that was your chance to make it right. And Michigan had the better team. I mean, that was JJ and all those guys, Blake Corum, all those. That team was loaded. So that was They were the best team in the country regardless of what was going on that year. But you had a chance to beat them with Kyle McCord and those guys up in Ann Arbor, and you couldn't do it. They almost did. They came up just short, but didn't do it. So that's it. But, yeah, there was never going to be any sort of heavy punishment for this. And, I don't get much right, but I had that right, that it just doesn't behoove the Big Ten or the Fox or anybody who's a partner in it for Michigan to fall off a cliff. So they weren't.
What does it mean, the 10-year show cause?
It means that if a college team wants to hire Jim Harbaugh, they have to prove to the NCAA that he will be clean going forward before they can do so. So for a guy who's in his 60s, yeah, no kidding. So for a guy who's in his 60s,
how can you prove that somebody's going to do something in the future?
For a guy who's in his 60s, who has already won a national championship at his alma mater and is never going to coach again in college anyway, it's a nothing burger. So I've been saying he's Danny Ocean. He robbed the MGM Grand, the Mirage, and the Bellagio in one night, and he's got a house in Lake Como. He got off scot-free, man. There's nothing, no punishment to him, none. So
okay, I wasn't sure what that meant, and now
that's all it is. It's nothing for Harbaugh. So it's like, you remember when the Buckeyes got busted for Tatgate and Terrell Pryor had to sit out in the NFL? So at that point, the NCAA had enough power that the NFL acquiesced and suspended Pryor. Remember that? He was suspended, right?
Yes.
Well, now all of that's gone, and they're done punishing people who didn't commit the crime. And how are you going to punish Harbaugh when he never wants to coach in college again anyway? So there you go. Crazy.
That's amazing.
I knew it was coming, and it was still crazy to read how soft it was, because it's a nothing burger, to say the least. All right, Z with Coach coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Fans enter the Dog Dash Sweepstakes presented by Milk-Bone for a chance to have your pup compete in the annual dog races during halftime. Browns-Dolphins, it's October 19th. Grand prize includes 2 season tickets for the 2026 season and Milk-Bone for a year. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/milkbone to enter. Now here is Z one-on-one with Coach from last night's Coaches Show.
All right, Coach.
You're down. Over 11 minutes.
Against the defending Super Bowl champions in the heat, in Philly, kind of big picture overall takeaways. What jumped out to you about your team's performance?
Yeah, 2 days versus a very good football team. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. You mentioned the heat. That was good for both teams. It was good for us, certainly, to be in the middle of that and endure and be resilient. And the guys pushed through it. Wasn't always perfect on any side of the ball, but I thought the competition was great. I thought the guys pushed each other. We won our fair share of plays. They won their fair share of plays, which is what it should look like in a joint practice. So I thought all the units really played a good football for most of the time we're there. There's so much that we can clean up. There's so much that we want to get corrected, but really pleased overall with getting our work done, staying as healthy as possible, and also not fallen victim to some of the craziness that happens at joint practices. Guys knew that we were there for one job, and that was to get better together, and I thought the guys did that.
All right, they say defense travels. I am ready to declare, after seeing it in Berea, seeing it in Charlotte, and seeing it in Philly, that this defensive line is going to travel. And it's not just the first team, the depth of it, we've talked about that before, but how pleased were you? And I know that Landon Dickerson wasn't out there. I know Lane Johnson wasn't out there today. But the fact of the matter is that your defensive front, I thought, was the standout unit, period, over these 2 days.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to disagree with you there. Our group, we're built to play multiple guys. That's how this system operates. We wave guys. We have our alpha. We have our bravo. I feel really good about the depth of that group, and you saw it on display. You saw guys making plays in the groups versus the ones. You saw guys making plays in the groups with the twos. So that's how we're built. We're built to be 8, 9, 10 deep, where we can just throw waves of guys at you. So I think what you see is a bunch of young, hungry football players, and it fits our scheme.
I could literally list 10 people right now that all had standout moments over the last 2 days, but I am going to list Myles Garrett. And, of course, he's been the defensive player of the year. You expect it, but it got to a point where it was almost comical, and it felt like the Eagles thought it was comical, the refs thought it was comical. He just had to kind of stop because he was wrecking practice.
Yeah, I've been on the other side of it. I can tell you, you're trying to get something accomplished on the offensive side, and you can't. There's plays you can't run in practice versus Myles. He's the best in the game, so it's no surprise. But it's also good for our players to see him go up against other great players and still win his fair share.
I mean, Maliata is one of the top left tackles in the league. Hopefully, DeJuan, when he watches that tape, can say, "Look, it's Myles, but you can continue to learn from those matchups, even when he gets the best of you."
100%, and I've talked to DeJuan about that very sentiment, and we saw it last week in Carolina. They have a young first-round draft pick with a ton of talent, and Myles, just the way he moves, he makes guys. He's going to make you great when you go up against him every single day.
All right, from the well-known like Myles Garrett, I'm going to go to a little bit of a lesser-known Aiden Huntington, who's a name that maybe Browns fans need to start paying more attention to. Was certainly flashed in Carolina, a sack, and then special teams, big hits. I thought he was in the backfield quite a bit over these 2 days as well.
He's done a really nice job. You mentioned special teams, and start there. When you have big guys that can contribute on special teams, that's a huge deal. I think the kickoff rules when they went to the dynamic, is that what we're calling it now?
Yes,
dynamic? When they went to the dynamic kickoff last season, that allowed some bigger bodies out there because you don't have to run the length of the field. You can be down there already, and it's now hand-to-hand combat. It's button press, and we've certainly used a lot of our big guys out there. Think about Mike Hall last season. But you can use defensive tackles that have the ability to get off of blocks and make tackles, and Aiden did a really nice job in there.
All right, let's talk about on the offensive side. It felt like Joe Flacco, especially at the end of practice and that kind of end-the-game situation, really got into a nice rhythm, was throwing some very good balls around. How did you kind of feel about the progress for the offense? Because at times it was tough. That's a very good defense, but it felt like they kind of started to hit their stride right at the end.
Yeah, that was a great period then practice today with our offense making some plays. On the first play, Joe hits Jerry on a big gainer that scores a touchdown.
That's a touchdown.
Well, it's hard because we're not going live, so I'm expecting or waiting for the officials there to say he's down. And there was a lot of just looking around and waiting and waiting. Finally, we said, okay, fine. He didn't score a touchdown because I don't mind. Let's put the ball back down.
Narrator, it was a touchdown.
Probably was a touchdown, but I don't mind because it's the course of practice. We're trying to get better. Let's put the ball down and run some more plays. So we got some more work out of it. Eventually scored a touchdown, I believe, to Dave Njoku. Right. So good work for our guys. And Jerry's running routes versus Quinyon Mitchell, and he's a great, great young player. So, again, why do you do these things? So then you can get good versus good. Obviously, we get to go against Denzel every single day, and that makes us great. But the ability to go up against a different colored jersey, different scheme, I think is invaluable.
And then Dylan comes in with his best throw of the day. And it kind of was like a golfer who was maybe struggling to find his swing, but then you birdie 18, right? And then you're like, I can't wait to get back out there. How did that kind of, first of all, great throw on the corner to Harold Fan, and we'll talk about him in a second. But, did you see that maybe that had a little lift for him? Because it had been kind of choppy.
Yeah, I think for any young player, if you're out for a day or 2 days or 3 days, you need to get back in the rhythm of practice. And I thought there were some really good moments for him on day one. There were some throws that I know he wants back, and he's still working himself back into full speed health as well. So I think that's an element of it. But like you said, to be able to perform in that 2-minute drill right out of the gates with a touchdown to Harold, I thought was outstanding.
Speaking of Harold, we've talked about him as kind of the queen, a chess piece for you to use, and he looks like he's going to play a big role immediately this season. We saw it today involved in some things that I don't know if we can even discuss or not, but they were certainly fun to watch if you were there live. But it felt like he was just all over the place. Had one that he probably wanted back that he should have caught early on. Now it was tipped.
Ball was tipped, yeah.
Ball was tipped.
Yep.
Nonetheless, very strong day. And he doesn't look like a rookie at all to me.
Yeah, what I appreciate about this kid is he's and I say kid, he's a young man. He's just turned 21. Yeah. This guy is competitive. I mean, and maybe no mistake with him being from Northeast Ohio, but man, this kid practices hard. He's physical. He gets open and catches the ball. Pretty simple. But the ability to move around the chessboard, as you say, you got to be intelligent. You got to be able to handle all that stuff, and he can. And I give a lot of credit to Harold and also his college coach, Scott Loeffler, who was there today. He's now the quarterbacks coach for the Eagles. They did a great job with him at Bowling Green, utilizing him in all these places.
How hard is it to know where you are in the run game when you're not really tackling?
Yeah, I think it's always a challenge. I think you go back to those 2 live periods that we had at practice, and you saw, there are times when you have unblocked players, but you have talented runners and they make a miss or they break a tackle. So I feel confident that we're getting a good feel for our offensive line, for our runners and what they're good at, and then it's our job to scheme it up.
Over the 2 days, it felt like it was about 60-plus-ish snaps for the ones. Is that?
Yeah, definitely by design there. Yeah, exactly right. So that's the whole design with these practices. And, you go real hard on day one, you pull it back a little bit on day 2. You still go hard, just less amount of time on the field. And then what you've done is you've put your players in a bunch of different situations, a bunch of different scenarios. So then that game can really be for the guys that didn't get as many reps. And the whole point of the preseason is just to get your team ready for the season, a 17-plus season. And what do they need to get ready? So there's certain players that need a lot to get ready. There's certain players that don't need a lot to get ready. When I say a lot in terms of playing in the game. But for a guy like Joel Bitonio, I use Joel as an example. Year what for him? 11?
Was drafted in 2014. Yeah, year 11.
So he doesn't necessarily need game reps, but he needs reps. He needs reps out here in the practice field, and he got a ton of them today. And you do it in a safe environment where you're not going to have. You shouldn't have guys. It should be as safe an environment as you can, and your quarterback, as you know, is not getting hit. So it's a safe way to get players ready for the season.
All right, this might be the only interview or press conference you've done where we went 9 minutes and 22 seconds before we got on.
That's a record.
That's
a record.
That's a pretty good one. Obviously, how disappointing was it to have Shedeur suffer the setback after looking good against Carolina, and then probably wanting to see him build on that against high quality competition?
Yeah, always disappointed when a guy can't go when you take reps from a player with an injury. That stinks. So Just need to be smart, though. When you have an oblique injury, what you don't want to do with a quarterback is make it worse, because there's all torque, and that's twisting, and that's how you throw. So disappointed for him. But I do look at a guy like Kenny, who's also not being able to take reps because of injury. You still got to get every mental rep you possibly can. So he's got great leadership in that room, that even though he may not be getting the reps, he's still making sure that he's maximizing all of those throughout camp.
All right, so I think it's probably too early to know what's going to happen on Saturday as it relates to the quarterback.
Definitely too early, yes.
Okay, so Dylan, game time decision.
Yeah, I think, again, if he's ready to go and he's healthy, you can put him out there. But similarly, would not put him in a situation where he could make something worse.
All right, so we'll find that out on Saturday, so tune in for that. Have you been able to, tomorrow's a day off, enjoy Philly?
Yeah, we got in on Tuesday, took the coaching staff to one of the best Italian restaurants there is, in I would say definitely in this city, a place called Ralph's in South Philly.
Okay.
It's apparently the country's oldest family-owned Italian restaurant still operating. So
that's awesome.
I didn't know that. I found that out, but I've been there a bunch before, and we brought the staff over there, and veal parmigiana, chef's kiss.
Magnifique. All right, very good, Coach. As always, we certainly appreciate the time. Great week of work here. And then can people expect that when we come back from this, are we entering next week? Is that season preparation mode? And that could come with announcements about the quarterback, and just really that's when everything changes into we're starting to get ready for the Cincinnati.
It does. You kind of leave quote-unquote training camp mode. You're in that place where you're in a regular season game week, so we'll give the guys a game plan. We'll go through the machinations of what it looks like when you're getting ready for a game. We'll still do plenty of Browns versus Browns in practice so that the guys are still keeping an edge. But yeah, it is starting to exit quote-unquote training camp and getting the team ready for the season.
And maybe that week we would see the guys in the preseason.
Yes. Yeah, that's the plan.
Oh, baby. Write that down, folks. All right, Coach, thanks so much. Enjoy Friday, and we'll see you Saturday for the Browns and the Eagles.
Thanks, Nathan.
All right, there you go, from the horse's mouth. It'll be a game-time decision on Dylan Gabriel, and then next week in the preseason finale, you're going to see some of those starters start to get a little bit of the action. Folks, we just got to get healthy at a lot of positions, but especially at the quarterback position. We'll go behind enemy lines. We play the Eagles on Saturday, what to expect from their side. What about what he thought of what he saw between the two joint practices? He's Dave Spadaro, great friend of the program. He is an Eagles analyst. He joins us coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Time to go behind enemy lines. He's one of the best in the business. He's the Eagles analyst, Dave Spadaro. He joins on the Twisted Tea hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. Dave, always good talking to you, buddy. Thank you so much for your time. Before we get into your view of your team, of which you are without peer, I'm curious what you witnessed from our team the 2 days of joint practices. What impressed you, if anything, about what you saw from the 2025 Cleveland Browns?
I think the Browns' defense is legit, fast, physical, sticky on the back end, forceful on the front end. Quarterbacks didn't look particularly accurate to me in the bit that I watched. They're operating on two different fields, so you're trying to catch all the action. Offensive line, and that's kind of it. I mean, but a chance to be really good if. I'm sure that this is a familiar refrain if you get it right at the quarterback position.
Yeah, we've only been trying to do that since Bernie, and so we know what that feels like, certainly a little bit over here. You guys certainly got it right at the quarterback position, and what a run this has been for the Eagles. One of the model franchises for the longest time in the league, but always kind of knocking on that door of the Super Bowl. And now you got a couple of them here in the last decade, and what appears to be the best roster in football again this year. How did ownership, top down, how did they get this thing running as smoothly as it has been running the past decade?
Yeah, and even before that with Andy Reid here, 5 NFC championship games, 1 Super Bowl appearance in 8 seasons. Consistency within the front office. Howie Roseman's been here a long time. He really knows what the coaches want, so there's a good understanding of bringing in that type of player. The philosophy of building from the line of scrimmage out has been something that the Eagles have been doing since the Andy Reid days. And, it's just a really well-run machine. Jeffrey treats his people right, and the Eagles have a terrific formula. They've hit it out of the ballpark in the draft. This is a very good roster, as you talked about, and a team that, we're looking next year at between 10 and 13 draft picks. So plenty of draft capital to go with a very, very young group on defense and a team on offense that's experienced and talented and just gets it. It's a great culture, and every one of Jeffrey's head coaches have made it to the playoffs. They've won double-digit games. Jeffrey's just a terrific owner who stays out of the front end and enjoys the back end, all the wins.
Yeah, it's wild. It's really you could make a very, very clean and concise argument. It's a model organization in the sport at the moment, and top down, everything that they do, it's all first class from the drafting, the development. I'm looking at this roster this year. It's mostly guys they drafted. When it does come time to pay somebody, it seems like they get it out of the way early and they get it kind of moving on. So it's a real feeling of an A-plus type operation. It's a good point out of you. It really goes back to Andy and probably Jeffrey, right? It really starts with that ownership.
Yeah. Yeah, and you look at the other model franchise, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs, and their GM is Brett Veach, who worked with the Eagles, and their head coach is Andy Reid. And the Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott, head coach, came out of the Andy Reid tree, the Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, and it's really important to identify who you want to keep and get to that early, make them great offers. Don't do what the Dallas. And this is something the Eagles fans love to do. Don't do what the Dallas Cowboys are doing right now. And I'll tell you one thing that's really the difference between 22 and 20 or 23 and 24. The Eagles changed out their coaching staff, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, and it really paid dividends. Your coaching staff is so important in the development of these players, and the defensive side of the ball last year was just lights out.
Yeah, it really was, and it's so many of those guys that Howie drafted who paid massive dividends, and the way they've been developed, the scheme they've been put in. In terms of, I look at it now, and obviously Landon Dickerson out for a little bit, but you feared the worst, and obviously that's not going to be the case. If you were to look for if this team isn't right back in the Super Bowl, what prevents them from doing so? Because it's really hard to find holes on the roster.
Yeah, I think there's still, look at the offensive line. You worry about Landon, but he should be okay. There's some depth there. Cornerback, who's the second starting cornerback, opposite, a kid last year, Quinyon Mitchell, who for the first time since 1988, since Eric Allen, who went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year, Quinyon steps in, first day starter cornerback. So I think at the defensive side, you'd look at the second cornerback position, depth on the edge, maybe safety. But by and large, it's a very weird thing to say, but in the NFC East, there has not been a repeat winner since 2003, 2004. And you look at it, you go, my gosh, the Eagles, they're going to end this right now. And you said the same thing in 23, and they were 10-1 and lost the division. So I don't know. I mean, it's a team that's not complacent. They've put the Super Bowl win behind them. They have all the pieces. The quarterback has incredibly steely determination and focus, and is just unnerving with his focus and his want to win. They are not a team of there's a great chemistry in the locker room. It's been a drama-free summer, which, I mean, how many teams in the NFL can say that?
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's every reason to believe that the Eagles will be there in contention at the end.
It's pretty amazing, too, when you mentioned that quarterback in Jalen Hurts, and he just continues to add little bits and pieces to his game and get better and better. Obviously a Super Bowl champion already. He's just 27 and is locked up long term. And you mentioned the determination, the leadership, all of it, but his craft, it's like every year he comes back a little bit better than he was the year before.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that the Eagles fans, who are always looking for some angst, are up in arms about these rankings and how could these rankings have Jalen down at 9th and 10th best quarterback in the league, and how dare they, and all that stuff just propels Jalen into another stratosphere of chip on the shoulder and focus and intensity, and he's a kind of kid who he wins the Super Bowl and he hasn't put the ring on. And he said that he's celebrated for 4 days, and that's it. Then it's on to the next challenge. And it's everything you heard about players like Michael Jordan. And Jalen has some games where it doesn't quite go right, but at the end of the day, he wins.
Yeah.
His record of 37-10 since 2022, it's remarkable. And so if the bottom line, as Jalen says, the main thing is victories, then he and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, that's it. But yeah, and look, I'll tell you something else about the Eagles. Not only do they have Jalen Hurts, but the second-string quarterback, Tanner McKee, has really, really developed. 6th-round draft pick a few years ago. The kid's outstanding. And so they really work together. They help each other, and the Eagles have excellence up and down the roster. But it certainly does start with Jalen Hurts, no doubt about it.
Dave, when did you think there was something special to Hurts? And I'm talking because we got Gabriel and Shedeur, and they're playing and they're young. Jalen was a 2nd-round pick; they're a 3rd and a 5th. But was there a moment early on with him where it kind of clicked, and you saw something with him, and you thought, "Oh, maybe there's more here than we thought"?
Good question. Look, I mean, in 22, the Eagles were just a spectacular team. It was his 2nd year as a full-time starter, and really that 1st year as a full-time starter in 21. You could see something about him, his ball security, his maturity, really kind of took off. But 22 is when he really became a fantastic player. And then when he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl 57, lost the game, but you could say, hey, this ceiling for this young man is very, very high. And so we see Jalen Hurts play his best football on the biggest stage, and that's really something special. So again, if you're judging on touchdowns and numbers and statistics, he's not the right quarterback. The only thing that matters is the wins and losses, and he's right at the top.
Dave, one last one on Philly and your connection over there. Then I got a couple questions about the NFC East for you. When did you sense that Travis Kelce would have this type of post-playing career? It's been a week for him.
Jason Kelce?
Jason, I'm sorry, Jason, yeah.
The first time so the Eagles have a public practice at Lincoln Financial Field, 2012. Jason's in his 2nd year, and I'm on the field doing the emceeing stuff, and I asked Jason, hey, can I interview you? And he's like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, let's just have some fun. So I interviewed him, and he did gibberish answer.
Yeah. Oh, legitimately.
It was hysterical. Legitimate gibberish. Off the cuff gibberish. And I thought, this guy's amazing. And then, of course, he's outrageous and fantastic. And then the Eagles win the Super Bowl in 2017 season, and he shows up at the parade with a mummer's outfit on and delivers a speech that at one point during the speech, again, I'm MC of the parade, one of our guys who's running the parade says, "Hey, you better get Jason off the stage here." We didn't know where he was going with it, and he was like this off the cuff. "You said Lane Johnson's on the juice. You said Doug Peterson couldn't coach. You said Howie Roseman wasn't good." I mean, it was like this brilliant speech, and I was like, "No way am I going to get this guy off the stage." And that catapulted him into stardom, and then of course where he is now is just a different level, and it's all like very genuine. He's a really great guy, and he's just a really wonderful cat, and he obviously holds Cleveland, Ohio, very much high in his heart.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. It's a very cool story. Big picture, NFC East, as you mentioned, it's been forever since anyone's repeated in that division. Obviously, Washington's on the come. I'm not sure what's going on in Dallas. What's just kind of your pecking order in the East this year as you see it here in the middle of August?
Yeah, I think the Eagles are the team to beat for sure. I always think that Dallas is a threat because of the talent that they have. Washington, I really believe in Jaden Daniels a lot. I think he's just a great talent. Washington is facing something that the teams that get there, you face it. It's one thing to kind of come out of the blue and be good, and then it's another thing to sustain that. And there's a little bit of age on Washington's roster, but Jaden Daniels is the real deal. And I think the Giants have a great defense. If they can get that quarterback going, they'll be a formidable team. So, but certainly the Eagles look to be the class of the division. And then I would say probably Washington 2, Dallas 3, and the Giants 4.
Dave, great stuff as always. Thank you so much for the time. Greatly appreciate you.
My pleasure. Have a great weekend. Thanks so much, and let's hope for a good game tomorrow for both teams.
Absolutely. There he goes. He's one of the best in the business. Dave Spadaro. Via the Twisted Tea hotline, he's an Eagles analyst with the team there. It's brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. Some stats coming in. I mentioned Jason Kelce and the Travis Kelce interview with Taylor Swift, Front Office Sports with this. Here are some numbers for you on the New Heights debut. 379 million views on Instagram, 61.6 million views on X, 34.5 million views on TikTok, 15 million views on YouTube, 1.3 million live viewers. Episode stream crash, past 3 million followers on Instagram, 400,000 new YouTube subscribers since, most concurrent podcast listeners ever. I'd say she's a big deal. I'd say she's a pretty big deal. They're a big deal too. Cleveland proud, but man, that is massive and honestly a little bit hard to put your mind around. All right, your final thoughts before preseason game number 2. A couple of things from Dr. Z to pay attention to. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. You're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Man Under Center. This is a new show, 3-episode docuseries. Episode 1 is debuting today at 3 o'clock. First episode is titled Part 1, The Groundwork, and focuses on training camp. Thus far, the Carolina trip and the first preseason games. It contains a plethora of quarterback mic'd ups from practice. What makes this different is that Stefanski, Reese, and Musgrave decided they want all 4 quarterbacks mic'd up to evaluate each guy through camp. So you're going to hear all of that on these episodes. It is all narrated by Andrew Siciliano, and it debuts today at 3. Man Under
Let's
Center.
go. Giddy up.
There you
I
go.
know what I'll be doing.
I know you do.
I'm going to watch it.
Where's tonight's meal for you guys?
A Chinese restaurant called Budokan.
What a vacation you guys are having. It's so great. Couple of vacation. I mean, you're seeing the sights, Liberty Bell, shots up at the Palestra, fine dining every night, masseuses. You're living your best
fine
life.
The dining part you have conquered pretty well. You and Siciliano have conquered
pretty good.
that. I was,
Well,
I
the
was
first
lucky
night
enough to have time
Lucky
last
enough.
night to go. No, to
You're
be able to
great
go.
kid, eh?
I can see the palatial estate you guys are staying in. I mean, is there a such thing as a
There are
6
palatial estates around.
Is there
They're
a
not ours.
is there a
3
such
doors
thing?
down from us.
Is there a such thing as a 7-star hotel in Philly? Because it looks like you're staying in one.
I'm so glad that I couldn't hear what you said right there because he was saying 2 minutes in our ear so that I don't even have to respond to it. I heard something about 7-star hotels.
All I know is if for some reason you're listening, you're a Browns fan, and you're in the Philly area and coming to the game tomorrow, sunscreen, 98 degrees potentially.
Jeez, there's going to be nobody there.
There
will
that
be
is
nobody
gonna be,
at that
it's going
game,
to be
man.
a hot one tomorrow.
Yeah. I hope it's Dylan, but I guess we'll know that as we inch closer to game time is kind of when you're going to get a sense of that. Your Saturday lineup, 9 a.m. Browns game day with Ken and Gerard, 11 o'clock, the kickoff show with Andy and Tyvis. Then at 1 o'clock, kickoff from Lincoln Financial Field in Philly. Andrew Z. Gerard on that one. Let's hope it's Dylan Gabriel so we can get a look at that. That'd be fun.
Yes, please. That's what we want to see. I think everybody wants to see. And if he does get the start, I mean, that is a high pressure situation for Dylan Gabriel. It is a high pressure situation. Now it's less than it would have been.
1 minute.
Coming in for the second half, it had been like, he's going to play the first half, should play the second half, or whatever it would be. But still a high pressure situation because I think, there is a lot of noise, not in our building, but outside of it, that, Shador looks so good. You want to see Dylan Gabriel have a good performance as well.
It's wild, too, because if you think about the high-pressure situations Dylan Gabriel played in his college career, they were in front of packed houses at night, typically, with the world watching. This is a preseason game in 98 degrees at 1 o'clock on a Saturday, but it's got that juice. It's got a lot of juice to it if he's playing in it, for sure.
Yes.
You boys survive and thrive tonight. I'm sure that you will, and we look forward to seeing you back here on Monday and tomorrow on the broadcast. Have a good one, fellas, and the next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.